We are here today with the Hartwell Chief, Larry Dordea. He will be running for the Stark County Sheriff's position. Welcome, Mr. Dordea.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Okay, let's start off by, first, why are you running for office?
Well, I firmly believe that we are not being as well served by the Sheriff's Office as we could be. I don't know if you know this about me, but I ran 4 years before, back in 2008. Prior to that, I was an Alliance police officer. I policed in Alliance for 30 years. I was their police chief from 1998 to 2007. While there, we did a lot of things, including reducing violent crime by about 50%. And while I was chief in Alliance, I worked a lot with the Sheriff's Office and other police agencies. And frankly, the Sheriff's Office was not living up to the expectations that I had for that organization. So I left the Alliance Police Department in December of 2007 with the expressed intent to run for sheriff in 2008. And I did run. I got 76,000 votes in 2008, but the incumbent, Tim Swanson, got 100,000, and I didn't get elected. The good news, or the happy ending that happened after that, is I got hired by Hartwell. Hartwell hired me as a patrolman, and they wanted to see my organizational skills and see how I would measure up, as their chief was thinking about retiring. And they quickly promoted me, and I became the Hartwell Police Chief in 2009. I also was contemplating running for sheriff again. So as I moved through the ranks in Hartwell, I kept an eye on what was going in the sheriff's office. When I was running before, one of the things that I was talking about was there is no detective bureau in the Stark County Sheriff's Office. Now, Stark County is the 7th largest county in the state of Ohio, and we don't have a detective bureau. To me, that's very poor planning. It's almost unforgivable. We also don't have a SWAT team that trains. We have some SWAT equipment down there, but we don't have those teams. And as Alliance Police Chief, I had developed both of those to a very high degree of excellence. And so as I'm watching as Hartwell Police Chief and these things don't come to fruition, I made the decision to run for sheriff again. Now, one little caveat there is after I became the police chief in Hartwell, I ran for the position of Alliance City Council at large. You see, I'm from Alliance. I still live there, even though I police here in Hartwell. And I won that race for Alliance City Council at large. So as I sit here, I'm also in my 2nd term as an Alliance City Councilman at large. So I have a couple different hats that I wear, and I think that there's a lot more that can be done at the Sheriff's Office. I think I could bring a lot more capabilities and character to the organization and to its officers. That's why I'm running.
Thank you, that's very interesting. So what will you be doing to reduce the crime rates within Stark County?
Well, as I said in my opening, as Alliance Police Chief, we reduced violent crime by more than 50%. Now, a few years ago, Alliance had the distinction, according to UCR statistics, of being the #1 most violent city per capita, I believe, in the state of Ohio. And that was shortly before I became police chief. So Alliance was somewhat notorious when I took over. And as we progressed through the crime reduction efforts, one thing became abundantly clear. Violent crime has its origins in substance abuse. So if you attack the drug problem, you affect the violent crime problem. And that's where we found our success. So one of the things that I would do immediately is I would reinvigorate what we call the Stark County Metropolitan Narcotics Unit. You know, I don't know if people know it as well as I do, but we have a heroin problem, we have a methamphetamine problem, we have a crack cocaine problem in Stark County. And these are the things that are driving the majority of our violent crime and our theft offenses as well. So we need to go after those with professionalism, with efficiency, and with an aggressive posture towards reducing crime.
Okay, with an area roughly around 581 square miles, do you feel as if you have enough patrol deputies to patrol all of Stark County?
Well, no, I don't think that there are enough deputies on the road to patrol Stark County. But I also think that we have some deployment issues with the manpower at the Sheriff's Department. So I do believe that I can utilize the personnel better to get more deputies on the road, but that's not the only mechanism that we can use. First of all, we have reserve deputies in Stark County. And reserve deputies have a good opportunity to go out and earn some extra income. And it's a perk to be a reserve deputy. You carry a badge and you have the authority. But there's really no mandatory return to the sheriff's office to have that perk. I would change that. I would ask that everybody that was going to serve as a reserve deputy with me would give back 2 days, 2 8-hour shifts a month. You know, when you look at a calendar, if there was 31 days and there was 3 shifts each day, we'd have 93 shifts in a month, okay? So if we had 45 deputies, reserve deputies, that were giving us 2 days a month, we would actually be able to put an extra deputy on the road every day. That reserve deputy could ride in a 2-man car with a full-time deputy, and we'd have a 2-man car, which in some cases would effectively increase the patrol we currently have by 1/3. So that's one solution I have. I also have some other solutions. I think you're going to get to those questions later about how am I going to save some money and what are we going to do. But there's also a situation right now where if there was a crime in Lake Township occurring right now as we speak, and you know, Uniontown Police is right down the road and Hartford Police are right down the road, but it wasn't in either of our jurisdictions, and it was in progress right now, and you called 911. They would send a deputy eventually. Yet there might be a Hartville police officer and or a Uniontown police officer that aren't even on a call that could readily respond and might get there within minutes. At this point, we're not allowed to send our officers out there to secure the scene and make sure the people are safe. If I'm elected sheriff, I'm going to change that. And we will call upon the neighboring jurisdictions with available police officers, because you know what? If you need help, you don't care if they're a Republican or a Democrat. You don't care what color their uniform or what their patch says. All you care about is you get a professional, efficient, effective, capable response. And that's what we aim to provide.
Good, thank you. So with recent tax cuts, would you take anything from the sheriff's budget to provide more deputies?
Well, interestingly enough, I would. We currently have an organizational structure that has a sheriff at the top and 2 chief deputies. One chief deputy is in charge of operations. The other chief deputy is in charge of the jail. The guy I'm running against happens to be the one that's in charge of the jail, okay? Now, both of those gentlemen had those same organizational leadership responsibilities when they had the rank of captain, but they were promoted to the rank of lieutenant. They were promoted to the rank of major. And then they were subsequently promoted to the rank of chief deputy. And of course, with each subsequent promotion, there was a significant increase in pay. And in some cases, you know, other people got promoted behind them. Well, I'm not going to have a chief deputy. My top rank in my administration is going to be a captain, which is a significantly lower paid position than a chief deputy. They also have an attorney on staff, which I'm not going to have, I don't need. I figure that initially I'm going to save some administrative costs somewhere between $300,000 and $400,000 per year in cuts that won't change service levels, but will provide money to add deputies and training and development to current deputies, which will increase their capabilities and their productivities. And that's just the beginning. I have a lot more ideas. You know, as I said earlier, I was a police officer in Alliance, Ohio. Alliance was poor before it was popular. I learned how to be efficient. I learned how to get a lot of work out of a guy, and I learned how to get a lot of value out of a dollar. And that's what I'm going to bring to Stark County if I'm elected sheriff.
Thank you. Now, with recent budget cuts, how can you reassure your citizens are safe, but while staying within budget lines?
Well, like I said, I'm going to change the current policing philosophy that's located at the sheriff's office to what I call cooperative policing. If you call 911 and I can't get a deputy to you there, I'm going to get an officer there to you. And frankly, I drive a cruiser myself. You know, I put on a uniform. I'm not today because I try to look pretty for you. But Normally, I wear a uniform and I have a badge and I handle calls. And frankly, as your sheriff, if I don't have a deputy available, you may just get me. And I'm a 35-year police veteran. I've investigated a tremendous amount of things. I just solved two recent embezzlements, large embezzlements in Hartville, both of them resulting in convictions. And I did those, I investigated those single-handedly. So not only am I a proven good leader, but I'm also a very capable crime fighter. I can still do the job. And I'll tell you something else. There's a lot of officers at the sheriff's office that have rank authority. They have a title like sergeant, lieutenant, captain. And some of those patrol, but not all of them do. And if you're a deputy, that means you're a police officer, a law enforcement official. And if you don't patrol, you may lose sight of what it was that you started the job for, the reasons, the passion that you have. And I'm going to make sure that everybody on my staff that's a sworn officer gets back into a marked police car and drives around and talks to the public and takes a report and remembers exactly why it is they're doing what they're doing.
Thank you. Sorry. Have you ever been a suspect of an internal affairs investigation?
No, there's never been an internal affairs investigation. I read your question too, and have I ever been suspended or reprimanded? No. I think that when you take the oath for office, and that's what a police officer has to do. He has to take an oath, and we still swear to God in our oath. A lot of people think that that's not the way to go, but I still think it is. When I take the oath, I still put my hand on the Bible, and it means something when I do that, as does my family name and my personal and professional reputation. So, I go to work every day. I do the right things. I go home after work, and I don't do the kind of things that you might see on television or read in the newspaper about some wayward police officers. And furthermore, I don't tolerate that either. People say I run a tight ship, and I think that's a very nice compliment.
Thank you. What do you suggest to keep county jail populations at a more manageable level?
Well, there's a recidivism rate, which means people that keep on coming back. And what I hear is that it's right in the vicinity of 72%, which means over and over these same people are coming back, coming back, coming back. Well, first of all, I think it's a little bit too easy in jail. Okay, we keep on hearing about the guy out in Arizona, Joe Arpaio, that has this tough jail, and he makes them wear, pink underwear and puts them out in a fenced-in area with tents and gives them bologna sandwiches. I think maybe that's a little extreme, but I do believe in running a tight ship. I also believe that if you go to jail and you can afford to pay your way, you're going to pay. We have a lot of people that get sentenced to jail for misdemeanor offenses that can afford to pay for their stay. But the current administration of the sheriff's office found it easier, I'm assuming more convenient, to sue the city of Massillon and the city of Alliance for the costs of jail than to charge the people that come in. And the Ohio Revised Code allows us to bill you for the services that you get at the jail, including medical and dental. But we don't do it. And there's no good reason why. If charging you to stay is going to be a greater inconvenience to you, then it's going to be an additional preventive measure to keep you from coming back. So what I found, again, when I was in Alliance, was a consistent level of enforcement, so people actually know what's acceptable and what isn't. A professional police officer and a good testimony in court are the kind of things that people don't want to have to deal with when they're committing crimes. So I want to elevate the quality of the officer through their training and development, and I also want to make sure that if you go to jail and you can afford to pay for your stay, you should pay for it instead of the taxpayers.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dordea.
You're welcome.
Hi, Bridget Furtick, and you're watching Wake Television.